All right. I have a few questions. I would love people's opinions accordingly, and maybe someone will tell me I'm just falling to random propaganda accordingly. First question would be, is in countries in the Middle East, can they be judged on how they treat atheist populations? Whether other religions exist, because they have codes on how they handle them, is one thing. But the fact that in the Middle East,
wait, where is this coming from?
There's a fact that you can't have an atheist population in the Middle East.
Where is this coming from?
Coming from the fact that it's dangerous to itself, on the fact to claim that one side is 100%.
Country? Which country? Because the Middle East, that's a big area. There's a lot of different countries in the Middle East that are all. There's a lot of secular. There's a lot of secular countries in the Middle East that do have populations of atheists that are fine.
In 300 million countries, you can count it on sub 1%. The global average standard is around 7. In India, which has large amounts of religion around in Hinduism and a nationalist religion element, they have a higher functioning atheist population because there is not a you will have no acceptance. I have been told by several of my friends from the Middle East that you can be Christian or Jewish, yes, but if you are a far random like pagan element, or if you are an atheist, that you will be met with consequences for your stances. That's in Jordan, in Morocco, in areas that would be counted as the more liberal-leaning Islamic states.
And your point is what?
That reactionary
what's your point?
politics are dangerous no matter which side they're on. And I feel people give
you're saying there's two sides to this? They're all religious. That's the same side. See, we're the side that doesn't think that there is a Sky Daddy. And then the other side would be the Sky Daddy side, right? So you're not trying to split the Sky Daddy side into two separate teams. No, my friend. They're all in the same basket. Because you brought up atheists.
Yes,
see,
they are.
So there's one side, which is the atheists, and then the other side, which are the non-atheists, right?
Yes,
so all the side, including, I would venture to come to America and start talking about the difference of opinions of religion here and the consequences of those actions within our borders. Are you not aware of it?
I've gone in churches and told people straight to their. I've never had a consequence, but I'm also privileged.
So we're not going to talk about the long, rich history of that here in the United States,
and the fact that I can publicly go around most of the country without much problem. But once again, maybe it comes from privilege
because it's not happening to you. It doesn't happen.
And
how do you spot
we are not a secular nation at all.
What about children that come from
evangelists in power in Congress currently today?
How would you spot an atheist? Like, how can you tell that someone is an atheist?
It's publicly going around proclaiming it. I will happily argue with.
Wait, we have parts of the society right now, right, where they're like predominantly governed by their religious, like, right, like the higher ups. And so, like, what was that? Scientology? Let's talk about it. What are the consequences of going against Scientologists? Can we talk about any of the people that have realized those consequences here in the United States? Just in Florida.
There are socioeconomic problems that come with Mormons, with Scientologists, with lots of religion. There is still
so there are consequences. You personally haven't received them because I don't know where you live or who you are, but that's neither here nor there. We're talking about consequences, right? And whether or not you're able to experience those consequences because of religious values. And I just demonstrated, and you just agreed that is happening in our society. Yeah. So you're saying I'm confused when you're saying this both sides thing, as if it's not happening here, because it is happening here. You just don't care about it when it happens here. It seems like you only care about it when it happens in Muslim countries, and I'm wondering why.
Because the number is literally less than 1% of 1% in the Islamic world, where it's 7% of people can be atheist in the Western world currently.
So you're worried about the size of the population and the amount that it happens. So let's compare population. Is our population larger?
To the entire Middle East? No, it's about 300 million to 300 million if you compare the entire Middle East to America.
So you want to take the entire Middle East. You don't want to focus on each individual country. You just want. Are
we going to narrow the U.S. down to
all people believe in? The Muslim
if you go to the middle of Alabama,
so if you're a Muslim, it just doesn't matter what country you come from.
Not every country in the Middle East is a Muslim country. So it's so disingenuous for you to say that, because there are plenty of countries in the Middle East where you are absolutely secular, that absolutely you can be atheist, you can be Christian, you can be Muslim, you can do any of that. But the other problem, though, is they might have a higher population of Muslim people, but that's not because you have to be Muslim, just because the majority of the people in that area choose to be Muslim.
You have to be religious, I've been told, accordingly in most of those countries. If you choose atheism, you will face more problems.
Say most of those countries. Let's be specific on which
happens
countries.
in Florida, man.
We can't categorize them all together because, like I said, there are plenty of Middle Eastern countries that are secular.
Also, the thing is that America props up these right-wing nationalist religious organizations that do end up taking over countries in the Middle East. They give them weapons, they give them support. They don't want peace over there. They don't want secular. They want it to be dysfunctional.
You're right. The same group that was crying about cancel culture for the past 2 years is now currently joining forces with a group from an undisclosed area that if you even utter a certain phrase, they will throw your ass on a list and cancel the fuck out of you. And they have the power to do it. Apparently they do, because we're seeing it happen all over the place. It is what it is. Call a spade a spade. You don't have to like what I'm saying, but I'm saying it. There are consequences for your actions when you say things here, especially if you go against religious organizations.
I don't know any atheist community that kicks people out for being atheist. Like, I've never met an atheist who chooses to hold people accountable and be judgmental of them because they're not also atheist. But I see that from specifically Christianity in America overwhelmingly.
I see that from all religions. I've never seen that's intentional to most designs of them. It's just the fact of, as I said, it disturbs me that when you account for the entire region, it's below the global standard compared to India, compared to Japan, compared to other parts of the world. That first, second, third, developing, non-developing, whatever terminology we're using for it, it doesn't even line up with any of the other standards of it. For the ability for them to exist and be publicly recorded, it is abysmally low. If someone doesn't want to be Christian, they don't want to.
I usually like to refer to those regions as overexploited, personally, and that usually has a lot to do with the issues that you're railing on about. So we don't experience those type of issues because we have the luxury, privilege of being able to live off of their resources.
But even portions of their are also experiencing.
Actually get the proverbial monkey off their back, right? Us. You see these issues within their country, right? It's like when people go, oh, well, there's corruption in Puerto Rico. Well, yeah, there's not a fucking lot of opportunity in Puerto Rico. So there's going to be corruption, clearly. Just like when you look at places that are underfinanced in the United States, what do you see? You see crime.
Of course.
Why do you see crime? Because poverty breeds crime. Yeah. That's why.
And we have corruption here. I'm not defending the United States.
So there's your answer. It's not that one group inherently is more immoral than the other one. It's just that this issue is stemming from our way of life. Western capitalistic ideology, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant bullshit as usual. And here they are with the symptoms of being ailed by us constantly. And we never once say, well, maybe we're the problem. It's got to be Muslim people. The entire region. I don't think so.
That's not what I'm arguing. I can point to Islamic culture.
He said, I think
here in Africa.
Maybe you're miscommunicating, and maybe I just don't understand.
No, I think you're just deciding to
hear
hear something else.
I just don't get it.
It is.
No, I'm not. I'm telling you. I'm shooting straight. I'm telling you exactly what I think, and that's just what I think, man. I'm sorry.
Understandable. May I restate my point one at a time, just to clarify something? In sub-Saharan Africa, where there is still Islamic areas, but they are not Islamic-dominated states. In areas that have not dealt with it, in the Middle East particularly, there is a larger atheist population in the developing world, areas that have been overexploited. It's not just the first world. It is that particular region around North Africa to the middle, to Israel, to that area, over Palestine, to Iraq, to Saudi Arabia, that area particularly. When you put it on a global standard, on the ability for atheist population to classify and exist, it's just so it's not even half of a percent. It's not even a marginal portion of a percent mark. It is, you have to be religious. You don't have to always be Islamic if they're more secular, but you still have to be Christian and or Jewish. There are states all over the world in every condition where that is not the case. And it just leaves me with a disturbing, it leaves me feeling, leaning into like Bill Maher, like Democrat logic. And I don't like it as much, but I've yet to find an answer to it of why there is not a larger, everywhere else on the planet has a atheist population that tracks with a certain percentage mark even when you apply with religious extremism and terrorism in the area, and the threat of violence has a larger amount. It is built into the region. And this is not just with Islam. There are elements of this in the Christian communities and with it's the hyper religiousness because it's so close to the holy lands of the three religions in that area. I just don't know how to address it without feeling extremely dissuaded by the whole region.
Can I just say something really fast? Because I wanted to say, when you mentioned the Holy Land too, because like if we're going to go into the fact that Israel wasn't even going to be traditionally in Jerusalem, or like that wasn't always where it was going to be. It almost was in South America. It was almost in Africa. Yep. Like the idea of they were just trying to have a land grab. It was that Europeans that didn't want the Jews in their area anymore after the Holocaust, because they were still very much prejudiced. They wanted them somewhere else. And it was just, what piece of land can we get the most benefit from? England and America and the Zionists, basically being like, let's see which land and resources we can exploit the most. And it just ended up being that they chose the Holy Land. But I don't think that the majority of the war and the fights that come from that have anything to do with just being around the Holy Land. It absolutely has everything to do with resources and land grabs and power.
It's that's wildly inaccurate of why the Zionism and Jews decided to like have their homeland in Israel. That's wildly false.
Absolutely not. You can literally see the lines drawn out on the map.
And like after the Holocaust, they gave us land. Like we were going there.
Like, it's ridiculous.
Second Aliyah. We can hold on. I'm Jewish Israeli in America. Like,
I don't care. I don't care what you are.
This
is just the fact of the way the world works, regardless of where you come from. It's about resources. It's not about Sky Daddy. It's fake. It's not real. And you can argue till you're blue in the face, but you have no evidence to prove otherwise. This is about resources.
Historical evidence of people like of us.
There's no evidence of God. You can't be fighting for something that doesn't exist.
Hold on. Because historically, when we look at Zionism,
I'm trying to speak here. You just made a wildly inaccurate fact.
Zionism was started by an atheist. Zionism was started by
God doesn't exist. It's a fact. Deal with it.
It had nothing to do when Israel, the idea of Israel was being created, had absolutely nothing to do with just Judaism specifically, or having Jews be closer to the homeland. It had absolutely everything to do with after the Holocaust. There were still a lot of people that didn't want Jewish people in their area, specifically Europeans. So they tried to push them out somewhere and convince them that this is going to be safe. We're going to give you a safe land that's going to be close to the Holy Land. But like I said, originally, when the Zionists were trying to form their own state, they were looking at other countries. Like I think Venezuela was one of them, and then there was a place in Africa that they were looking at, and then they decided on that land in the Middle East. It wasn't originally going to be there. It had nothing to do originally with the Holy Land, because
so there's no connection there. There was just like a resource thing. There was no like actual spiritual religious connection to that area. Is that what you're saying?
I think they found a good way to tie it into the justification of why
they found a good way to tie it in. We don't dig in the ground there. You find old Jewish coins from 2,000 years ago. Okay, we don't have our original temple there.
So
really?
I understand that there's Jewish people that lived there and they were also displaced, but there were also still Jewish people that lived there before and after the Holocaust that did not come from Europe. That the fact that all of these Jewish people decided that even when they were born, raised, and lived in all other parts of the world, that they had to come to Israel and they had to take land from the people that already lived there who weren't Jewish so that they could live there. That is what I'm talking about. There's already Jewish people that existed in there during the Holocaust that had nothing to do with it. And it was a secular area where you could be Jewish, you could be Christian, you could be Muslim. They all lived together in their own secular area. But until Zionism happened, that is when we saw the displacement of everyone who was not Jewish for the sake of we have to get all of the Jewish people to the Holy Land to make a safe area for them. But that was a lie. That was based on a lie so that white Zionism could get more land grabs, so that they could become more more powerful so that they could control parts of the Middle East and parts of Europe. That is why a lot of this happened. The fact that they were able to tie in the whole Holy Land thing, that just made it even more possible for them to be able to claim the land as their own, or for them to justify unaliving any of the people that lived there so that they could take the land for themselves.
How many people are... It doesn't matter. You guys are like so beyond at this point. I'm not going to explain myself.
Okay, I mean, if you want to prove me wrong for any way, can you show me how I'm wrong?
Entire history of Israel and the first Aliyah and everything that we've been yearning for the past 2,000 years. How all of the ancient revolts, how all of the different times we've tried to go there in the 1500s, in the 1600s, in the 1700s. How we've been moved around all across the world based on different empires. When we first got there, hold on, excuse me, I'm trying to speak now. I was born there. I know this. I've been living my whole life as an Israeli Jew. And you're just saying, oh, we wanted to go there. No, we could have moved to Uganda and Argentina. Like, no. This was always the place where we wanted to be. This was always the place where we wanted to go. And I'm so sorry we're defending ourselves right now after getting massacred. I'm so sorry.
You're defending a genocide. You're literally defending a genocide.
I'm just literally proving you wrong. How you're saying, oh, the Europeans didn't want us in this one place. We bought land there.
Proving how disgusting Zionists are. That's all you've proven here.
Right, I'm a Zionist.
How disgusting Zionists are.
Right.
That you cling to religion when you know it isn't true. You will do anything that you can to make this about religion.
How religious we were.
You will do whatever that you can to make this about religion, but it's not about religion.
Stand with Israel. I'm Israel High. Get the fuck out of here.
I don't care what you stand with.
Hell yeah.
It's the same rhetoric after 9/11. It was the same rhetoric after 9/11. I've heard this song and dance before. You can dance the dance, you can try, but it's not gonna work. Same rhetoric after 9/11.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Shaka, I don't know why you weren't mod on that account. I want this account.
Because this is not the same account, man. I got that account got deleted, bro.
Oh shit.
But the biggest thing is that, like,
you see what I'm saying? You're fucking them both ways. There's nothing here that makes you feel special. No. It's literally garbage. It's trash. So what's the point?
The organs were not taken only from Palestinians.
Fuck!